Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video we'll be seeing and learning how to sew your buba. So just in case you missed the previous video, we have shown how to cut this. We are making a buba crop top and we have shown exactly how to cut this. So in case you've not seen that, please go and watch that video. But in this particular video we'll be showing you how to sew and bring this your buba to life. Okay, so we have the buba. You can decide to work with the facing first. We already have our facing fused with paper stay. Okay, if you have an stay, you can also use an stay, but paper stay is fine. And then we can open this way. Remember that we have notches, so we also have notches on the facing. The paper stay I added to it, so I can just trim that off and also trim here as well. So right side facing right side. Okay, you can use your pins to match the facing. Use your pins to match the facing so that it doesn't move. So now when you're done with that, you can sew from whichever side. Let me sew from this side because I feel like I have some space on the facing, so I want to focus more on the one on the fabric. So I'm going in to sew a quarter. Okay, so in case you have your space like what I have here too, just sew from here and follow the shape on the fabric. That's what is most important. Now because of the way my fabric is now, I have to trim off those parts. And because my neck isn't straight, it is round, so I have to ensure that it sits and relaxes well. Even though I used 1/4, I mean quarter of an inch, what I used here for the joining is not up to half. It could be a little bit more than quarter of an inch, but I'm still going to notch several points just so that the neckline relaxes well. Okay, so you can go ahead and notch some specific angles, especially the part where you have the most curve. You just, when you notch, you are notching close to the thread but not on the thread. Okay, close to the thread but not on the thread. So the only reason why I'm notching those 4 areas is just because my allowance is small. Okay, my allowance is small, so I don't need to go and notch every part. But if your allowance is big, like ½ inch, please ensure to notch at different points so that it still relaxes well. Okay, so when you're done with this, we want to move this. We want to move the facing inside. This is our right side, remember. Okay, let's look at it from it. This is our right side, so we want this facing to come in. So some people just fold it in and use iron to press, but what I recommend is to do a top stitch again before you take it in and then iron. So to do your top stitch, you have to flip the facing towards the side and top stitch just exactly. So take a closer look. You flip your facing in and top stitch. You are top stitching now on both fabric and your seam allowance. Okay, and it's going to be very close to this your seam joining, but it's not going to be on it. Okay, so let's do that. When back stitching, ensure you don't do a very long back stitch. It doesn't make your work come out neat. So this is what we have. When you look at this is what we have sewn. Okay, this is what we have sewn. Can you see how close the 2 stitches are? Now we can now press. We can take it in now and press. Now some people you can choose to use hemming gum to hold it down. Okay, so that it doesn't flip, and if you choose to leave it this way, it's fine. Of course, also remember that your edge is raw. The edge of your facing is raw, so you can use a weaving machine or just do a tiny fold. So you just fold tiny and then use your machine to stitch it. But for us, we're going to use a weaving machine to weave that area out. So even without pressing, can you see, because of the top stitching that we did, it's giving it a very neat look. Can you see? And then imagine when we now press. Okay, so this is what we have. You can also make your facing size a bit longer, maybe like 3 inches, so that it doesn't keep flying out. Okay, another trick is when you use stay to interface here, by the time you use iron, stay still has like residues of glue that would hang on to the main fabric, so that also works. I think sometimes even the paper stay does as well. Now the next thing we want to do is to fix in the sleeve. Please always remember to note where your right is from your wrong, especially for fabrics like this. So this is my right. I'm going to use the selvage part to determine. So right side facing right side. Remember, we already have a notch here. So we will match the notch to this notch on the shoulder. Okay. And we will pin that together. And so we take it this way. So remember this notch here? That's where the sleeve is supposed to stop. So I'm just going to start sewing from there. I'm not going to sew from the very end. You can choose to, but I'm just choosing not to. So the allowance we are working with here is 1/2 inch. Always remember to take off the pins when you're close to it. Don't leave it there. Sometimes you can always forget. Okay, so this is what it looks like. All right, this is what it looks like. Let's do the second part. Okay, so we also have this. So this is what we have. Okay, now you want to fold. So for most buba, they would always have like an opening by the side, but because it's a crop top, we're not putting an opening. Okay, so what I need to do is to join this together. But before I do that, I want to weave all the sides. All right, so now we are done weaving. Okay, so I've weaved the facing and also the joining of the sleeve. Okay, so we have weaved the joining of the sleeve, so you can go ahead and continue the sewing. So for you to be very sure, you want to ensure that this joining here matches one another. Okay, so this is your neck, this is your neck, this is the sleeve parts, this is the body. So you want to ensure that you're joining together. Okay, make sure the joining here matches. I can just use a pin to hold them down. Then I can go ahead and sew. Remember, we added 1/2 inch by the side, so you can hold 1/2 inch as well. I'm trying to ensure that the seams align, and I'm still sewing on 1/2 inch. So I'm going to stop exactly where the thread here is stopping, and then I would pivot to sew the side. This is so that when you're looking at it from the top here, so let's have a closer view. So this seam that we have here, okay, this seam that we have here is what I want to follow all the way straight down. We'll do the same thing for the other side. So I'm going to show you how this looks like now. Remember, we've not even pressed, we've not gone to the ironing table, and that is because we didn't stitch over any joining. Okay, we didn't stitch over any joining, that's why we didn't press. Now look at this part. Okay, so this is where we joined the arms with the body. So your iron is going to straighten that out for you, and it's going to look so clean. Okay, it's going to look so clean after you use your iron. I kind of do not recommend notching. Some people say, oh, should we notch? I do not recommend notching. Let your iron do the job. So we're going to go to the ironing table, but before then I would weave Okay, I would weave. I would just fold in my 1 inch. I wouldn't use here. I would use this part and fold in my 1 inch, put my hemming gum inside to have my sleeve folded. Same thing for the other side. I would I'll weave the hem because there's a part of the hem that is not itself. So I will weave the hem. Okay, so when I weave the hem, and then I would fold 1 inch in, or well, since we didn't plan on folding 1 inch, we planned on stitching like this. So let's stitch like that. Let's stitch like that. Before we do that, we have to go and weave the inside. Okay, so we have it weaved now. The reason why you notice that I'll always go and weave before I continue a step is because if the weaving would be inside another joining, then you have to weave that layer first. So I'll go ahead and just fold in. Now my folding should take off this fabric factory side because you don't want that showing on the right side. And I'm just going to join. Can you see the joining? Make sure your lines are straight, the distance between the edge and a particular stitch is the same. Okay, press with our iron the facing inside, and we just show you this on the dress form. So this is the final look of the Buba crop top. You can see how it looks right now. You can see the sleeve, it's wide. You can see the neck, you can see how it falls. Okay, and it's just paired with a mini skirt. Okay, so let me know if you're going to try this, and hope you gain something from this video. See you in the next one.